Make that one of the notes. Stuart's a fuckwit.
Do you want me to make that a note?
Yeah, Stuart's a fuckwit.
Welcome back, you're a fuckwit.
Welcome back to the Stuart's fuckwit pod. That's not the name of the episode. It's the name of the podcast. Stuart's fuckwit cast.
Yeah, I made it a note. So, a bit of a change of location, change of scenery. I am here today to talk about WrestleMania 33. That is the current WWE
Here today
event.
in Australia or just...
No, you guys have come to where I was. You've come where this is taking place
in
hell.
This is hell, also known as Bangor, Maine. Sorry to everyone out there. Ryan
shit.
for that, not me. So I'm here, and as you heard, I just said that I am with Ryan.
I thought you were
and
still in Canada.
Well, we are, maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
Changing location
Restart,
on the
restart.
fly. Changing location on the fly. Not restarting.
We're in
hearing
the
the
back of a
blustering.
truck.
Hearing the shit. It's no worse than some of the things we're going to be talking about anyway. So, we are here with the 8th wonder of the world. We are here with Mr. Jesse. He is here to talk all the shit.
Remember that time Andre the Giant threw money out to the crowd and then the week later he was a heel?
Jesse remembers. And we're here with the King Slayer, Mr. Ryan, who may not exactly...
You should buy Final Fantasy 14.
Stormblood.
I guess. I'll buy it with my Bullet Club shirt as well.
And I'm just plain old Stuart. No cool titles for me. Just yep.
Stuart the main man McGuffin boy.
Yep, you heard it here first. Stuart the main man McGuffin boy coming at you from hell,
He always continues
Canada
the plot.
and or Maine. So we're going to be talking about WrestleMania 33. We're not going to be talking about any of the stuff on the pre-show because just like the WWE, we're going to pretend it didn't really exist since it doesn't have time to be on the main event itself. So we're going to be talking about AJ versus Rich Dad first up.
Rich Dad.
What did anyone think about this? I mean, obviously going into this match, there was a lot of contention that people thought that AJ deserved a better spot or a higher spot on the card at least, and that it was kind of roughly thrown together. I do not believe that to be the case. I think that of the few matches that I do remember about WrestleMania 32, Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker is probably the only one that I really thought was cool.
That was thrown together. It was like 2 weeks of fucking, I've got a match.
Yeah, and
That was it.
we'll talk about some of the stuff involving The Undertaker later, but yeah, with Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles, what did you guys think?
Well, it was cool to see Rich Dad. And I don't know, AJ Styles' ring attire was pretty cool. How it had because he's been alternating between the red and blue, especially of recent. So he's red and blue and the white tights.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a throwback to last WrestleMania where he wore that against Jericho. It's pretty good. The match itself was, decent opener.
And we had first blood in this match where
Yes,
AJ
first
kicks
blood.
the ref and then the ref goes down, and I think it was you, Ryan, that was like, what's taking the ref so long? Why is he like this? And then
I thought the paramedics were just poking in his ears, just get up, come on, get up.
and it turns out that he
Don't you
had
sleep
been
on the job.
kicked, Yeah. So with this match, I think I was more expectant to hear what you thought, Jesse, in regards to, because these are two people that you... Well, these are two people that you've been rather vocal of in the past. Of you say, I like the Rich Dad because of his Rich Dad gimmick, and that we've self-made really for him. But you're also one of the biggest proponents of AJ Styles when he was in TNA.
I thought it was a good booking. I like the story associated with it. I don't AJ Styles can definitely perform at a higher up in the card, but I don't think, at least in WWE, he's deserved that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And this match sort of goes in the way of hey, because AJ Styles is saying himself, I deserve better than this, and then Rich Dad's like, no, this is how it works here. You need to start from the bottom and work your way up. So
you start with fuckboy Buckethead,
God.
and you're working your way up.
Yeah, well, that's how it usually works. Or you buried immediately. And just go back up. But I don't know. I thought it was a decent match. There was a lot of Rich Dad. Rich Dad's basically like the new Mick Foley now. Just
It's a good comparison.
hey, look, who's the guy that just kills himself and hasn't really got anything else going for him?
Didn't jump off the roller coaster. I thought he would.
I thought it was funny when AJ Styles was I thought this was a wrestling match. This was a fight. This is a wrestling match. And then after he just punches him, it's like, oh, okay.
They throw hands.
Yeah. I felt that AJ was really strong in this match. The start of the match with Shane O'Mac just starting all that mat wrestling and going really fast. He was a lot faster than I've seen him in most of his career, and especially with the mat wrestling, he was showing he was proficient in that and he was abating AJ's fears of, hey, you know, you're just a fighter, not a wrestler. And he's like, well, we can do the wrestling thing, and then AJ's like, hey, no, we're doing the fighting thing.
Yeah.
So I really liked that. Also, AJ doing a mind game later in the match, pretending to be out on the table, and then quickly rolling out of the way to make Shane McMahon go through the table
Twice he
himself.
does that.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the overall match? Like, going at the end of it, once it was all said and done, with AJ obviously winning.
It was a very good kickoff match. Probably maybe didn't deserve to be the kickoff match, but it got us hyped. Well, got me hyped at least for it. A little disappointed that AJ didn't just to build some heat. They just went and smacked one of Rich Dad's kids.
Yeah.
But I mean,
you can't really fault them for not smacking kids.
I mean, they lost WWE.
Why would you want that so badly though? It's like, oh man, I really wanted to smash that guy's kid. It's like that. It's not what this is.
I mean, people would boo. It's like, oh, you can't go around hitting kids. It's not the thing that people do these
get
days.
arrested for child abuse.
And Jesse, what did you think of the match?
I thought it was good. The spots are more memorable than just the play-by-play thing. I mean, that's what you get with Rich Dad though, and AJ Styles gonna be played at his strengths, especially with the wrestling. Even they want to play each other with that, and then just have the big spots as well.
And definitely, this was when you look back at it after watching the whole event, that seems to be one of the better matches of the entire evening. We're going to go into Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho. What did you guys think about the angle coming into this, the whole Festival of Friendship? Because Ryan, I know that you were saying that it was one of the most memorable feuds in years, one of the most memorable stories. Would you care to elaborate why you feel that way?
Well, it's like when people who don't or haven't watched wrestling for a long time or don't really give about newer WWE are going like, holy shit, this happened to Chris Jericho. There were people on social media crying over this. It's like, fuck, that hasn't happened for a very long time. So people were invested in this angle, which is a plus. Had social media was buzzing. It was ticking all the boxes for WWE, and I really enjoyed it. Like seeing Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, work well together as a team. They built up nicely, except for that. I think it was November, where they teased it early, and it's and then it didn't happen. That was a bit shit. But other than that, it was pretty good.
And Jesse, what did you think of not only the story, but I know for me personally that sometimes I forget that the United States Championship is actually on the line here, because I'm just like, oh, it's just these two guys, and I know that Chris Jericho hasn't really been doing much as the US champion. He's just sort of been holding it for a while.
That fucking Rusev tweet, he's like, oh yeah, good work, man. Good work, Chris Jericho, for winning that belt.
Yeah. But I will say that I was most interested to see how this match would play out on a big stage, because I know both of them could work, but by placing them lower in the card, I also felt that the audience had lower expectations for the match, and that's what I was going to ask you about, Jesse. What were your thoughts of the match?
It was a lot of Walter Jericho's and stuff like that. I don't know. Chris Jericho did a rather he did his fucking code breaker, but he lay on his back like he suplexed himself. It looked a bit bad, but other than that, they were both doing their decent wrestling stuff. The angle itself it's good enough. I don't think they needed to waste the belts on it though, just because they should be able to do it. It sort of makes sense from Kevin Owens' perspective, sort of thing. But other than that, it's kind of pointless to have the belts on the line as well, because they could have used that to build up some other fight, made that more interesting. But
And Ryan, you're the guy that's wearing the Kevin Owens shirt right now, so your thoughts on the match?
No, it was a really good match. It was, I said, being lower down the card. I was hoping, coming out, I thought it was going to be maybe a little bit higher because it had a belt in it, but second match, I'm like, okay, unlike the Intercontinental belt, at least it featured on the fucking card. So yeah, it's like Kevin Owens is now being an Intercontinental Champion, NXT Champion, Universal Champion, and now US Champion, so...
And he had the perfect opportunity to be tag team champion with the Chris Jericho angle, but never came to fruition, unfortunately. But at least we know that he could actually do well in a tag team, as long as there was someone of the same charismatic capability of him that they would actually be able to pull it off.
But I mean, in this recent run with Jericho, he got a list, a fucking like a scarf over. Hell, he tried really hard for that fucking Asylum match, but that was just shit waiting to happen, I guess.
Yeah. Considering everything that happened in WrestleMania, what were your thoughts of that match in the overall scheme of things? Does it stand out as the match of the night? Is it not really there? What if you think anything later on in the card beat it, or?
No, it was a really solid start. It didn't like this WrestleMania didn't WrestleMania 30 where it was like started off with a bang and just went flaccid.
Okay.
But yeah, it was better than. Yeah, it was a solid start.
My thoughts of the whole match were that Chris Jericho was doing a lot of the Walls of Jericho, and even though it was only like twice, I think it was just it gave the appearance, and the whole emphasis on submission seems to be what Jericho was going for. That seems to be the story. Like he wanted to
wear him down.
Yeah.
That's why it was like kicking him in the ribs
And when Kevin won, there was a lot of talking in the match of just insults being thrown back and forward between the two. And when Kevin did win, I was like, oh, that's cool. And I don't know where they're going to go from here. Whether or not that was the blow-off match and there will be no more feud and they're going to be moving on to bigger and better things, I'm not sure. But I thought it was a good match, but it was missing something. I don't know what it was. Maybe as I said earlier, by having it so early on the card, it lost a bit of an emphasis for me. But anyway, that's just a personal thought. And
do you think if they added more stipulations, like if it was like a career versus retirement match, like it's like Kevin Owens, it's like Chris Jericho's like, I'll put my career on the line, or
if they do that,
like
I would have known from the first second. I'm like, okay, well, Chris Jericho is not going to retire. Like he's got a lot more left in him.
Oh, definitely.
And so it's like,
but do you reckon it needed something like that, stipulation?
I'm not sure. Maybe it was the pace of the wrestling in the ring, but it was interesting to watch and entertaining from the story perspective, but the athleticism in the ring, it wasn't entertaining to watch. There was a lot of deliberate and slow things. I get that's the storied pace of it, but at the same time, it took a little action away from it, as it's like, these are supposed to be like, or at least in Chris Jericho, this is supposed to be the guy he thought was his best friend, and there was emotion in it, but not as much as I would have preferred.
There could have been stuff like, him saying, oh, you were my friend, you betrayed me, all this kind of stuff. Whereas I was going to cut back to Battlegrounds last year, where like Sami Zayn, he does a luva kick to Kevin Owens, holds him, and he's just like, this is for all the shit you've done to me. Sets him back up, does another kick. That was probably a better ending.
Well, regardless of that, it was much better than fucking the next match, which was for the Raw Women's title.
Oh fuck, I completely forgot about that
Exactly,
match.
there was Bayley, Charlotte, Nia Jax, and then Sasha Banks. Now I'm gonna just say my piece, and
not like other women's matches.
Yeah, exactly. I will say this much. I think that for someone that's trying to promote, or some company that's trying to promote its women as, hey, these are equal to or greater than wrestlers, being as far as to say those exact fucking words on the same show almost. By saying, hey, guess what? Championship scramble for both of our women's titles or women's divisions. It's like, it felt like nothing. It was just like, you guys don't know what you're doing. There's not a dedicated women's wrestling match on this card. And I feel like by doing that, it's showing really the weaknesses of that entire division. And it makes more sense now knowing that since WWE is doing a 32 women's... so they've just announced that they're going to be doing a 32-person women's championship tournament in order to scout new talent around the world to try and build up their women's divisions. That makes sense, because seeing all of the women's wrestlers on offer tonight, with the exception of maybe 1, 2, or 3, I'm just like, oh, this is
maybe
this is not
5
good.
tops, I think, in the whole division.
And so, curiously, Jesse, was there anyone in the match that you cared about?
I can sort of get behind Bayley.
Okay.
For nothing else being that she's the underdog.
But she was the champion.
Yeah, but
still
she still
felt
had
like
to
an
defend it
underdog.
against...
Yeah, with 3 other women, so, yeah.
Plus, just Charlotte just seems like the most able competitor there, so I feel like everyone's an underdog compared to her. Other than that, there was really nothing. There was a cool like 3-person pin.
Yes, against
That
Nia
was-
Jax at the start.
It's sort of made like, oh man, it takes 3 people to put it down, which is kind of cool. But yeah.
That was good storytelling because it's like, on Raw recently, it's like Nia Jax beats Bailey.
Mhm.
She couldn't do it by herself. Basically, no one's been able to beat her. So it's like, they worked together. They were able to, classic sort of going up against the giant sort of thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
Chewie.
necessary team making and all that.
Sasha didn't really bump too much. I thought she was gonna do more bumps.
Yep.
Charlotte was.
Just, really like messing up Ryan's talk here.
And I know Nia Jax looked strong even though she got first pinned. So it was a bit of a meh match. I mean, from what I keep thinking from years ago when the Divas division. So we've come a long way, but still a long way to go.
Definitely. Didn't really think much of the match, to be honest.
It could have kicked off the show, to be honest. It was.
I think that will never happen for reasons of culture, but I would have much preferred to have seen, especially with the list of matches that I'm looking at. There is one in particular that I'll get to that I would have loved to have seen the Intercontinental title or the Cruiserweight Championship in its place, but
Well, there was a certain match because of social media. They moved onto the main card, so
Mhm.
the Intercontinental got bumped down.
which was disappointing because that was one of the ones that I was really looking forward to.
But I was going to say on SmackDown they didn't really care because neither Dean Ambrose or Baron Corbin was there, and they didn't even show it.
So, the women's division obviously needs a little bit more work, but they're doing better than they were. Which goes into the tag team match, the Raw tag team match that I had almost no expectations for because I was just like, okay, these 3 teams,
Especially after the last match, it was just we were flaccid.
they're all they're all right teams. Like I can definitely see
They got
why
pros.
Enzo and Cass, they're
And
the
cons.
most over. Cesaro and Sheamus, they're probably the most interesting to me because they're both well established in their own right, and so even though it's not really story driven or character wise for them to do much, I know that when they get to the ring, they're at least going to be capable or decent. So
They
it's
work well
They're not
together.
just filler; they're actually something, which is good.
exactly. And then there was the Club, who are the heels, and they're probably the biggest thing to heels that the tag team division has at the moment, really.
Champions going into the match, by the way.
Yes,
To bring
and
the opposite pain, that'd be good.
And so, the New Day were obviously, they were the hosts of the event. So when they came out, once this match was announced, and they said, well, we're going to add another team into the mix, I was just like, don't be the New Day, don't be the New Day, don't be the New Day, don't. I was like, really just saying that. And then all of a sudden, the Hardy Brothers.
Hardy Boys.
Hardy
with a Z.
Boys. Well, okay, so they're not broken, they're not brothers, they're boys.
For the moment.
For the moment. But, geez, I was audibly impressed. I was like, holy shit, oh my god. I was
That
really
pop for
impressed
the crowd,
to see them.
we were, holy shit, but the crowd just lost it, and then delete all the
Yeah,
delete
yeah.
chants.
There was a Brother Nero chant in there.
Yeah.
Yes. So, what do you guys think about the match? And I will also put this to you guys. Do you think that the Raw teams got kind of swept aside for the reintroduction of the Hardy Boys?
Well, it's just because Enzo and Cass came out first, and they had the crowd, they hyped up the crowd, it was, alright, we want them to win, and then it's just Sheamus and Cesaro came out, and oh, okay, it's cool, and then the Club came out, and was like, oh, fucking, I guess we're gonna boo, he's got a hot Asian wife, I guess, because he keeps telling us.
Yep.
But when the Hardys came out, it's just any momentum that Enzo and Cass had, fucking dead. They just swept aside. They may as well go to SmackDown now because
They're that dead?
They can't compete. Everyone was just the Hardys have to win this now.
And your thoughts, Jesse?
I feel like Enzo and Cass are just an entrance to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So they already had their thing hey, well we've seen them now, so we can just ignore them for the rest of the fight now. I don't really think much of Bullet Club. Well, they have they're good workers, as I did. And then Sheamus and Cesaro, they're already they're just
They're already established.
It's good to see them. I don't need to have them like put on a show for me to enjoy them being there. It's fucking weird, but so it was a good moment to bring out the Hardy Boys and have them like just, especially because it was like a fucking ladder match.
Yes.
So they got to like do all the bullshit they do.
Everyone was buzzing. They're like, "Oh fuck, ladders!" You say. Why would they introduce ladders into and 3 tag teams? It seems a bit weird. Maybe there's room for one more.
And also just the happiness of having the New Day not compete.
Oh, it's so good.
So, obviously we have a lot of ground to cover with this match because there was spots all over the place. There was things that were happening, like obviously the one that comes to mind immediately is the ladder spot where there was Cesaro and Sheamus down the bottom, and then from all the way up the top, Jeff Hardy just fucking swanned on just all the way down. And fuck, every time that gets higher and higher, I'm like, one day, maybe you shouldn't be doing that anymore, but hey.
Like the spot before that where they had both the Hardys and they got sort of sandwiched with the ladders, and then Jeff almost got fucking decapitated with the ladders. It was like, whew.
I think that this was one of the few ladder matches that I enjoy where there was multiple participants, because every time someone ran to get the titles at the top, it wasn't like they were standing up the top for like ages to wait for someone to push them down. No, everyone was kind of on the ball to get them off and be like, okay, we're going to make it look like we're really struggling to get these things, and we don't want anyone else to win them except their respective teams. I like the fact that the Hardys were in there, and I think that the Hardys were doing some really cool shit. That being said, I'm not going to throw Sheamus and Cesaro when they were doing their respective things, like Cesaro doing the Cesaro swing while Sheamus was doing the beating of the chest. I thought that was really cool, that, you know, and they did it for a while. Some might argue too long, but I I think it was good. The club, as per usual, served as kind of punching bags.
Meat.
I think there was one spot, it's like Cesaro was going to get up to push the ladder, and I think it was Anderson pushed, I'm quite sure it was Enzo off, and it was just a European uppercut. That was nice.
There was a cool spot where Enzo was trying to climb the ladder, and then Cass was underneath him to like give him a help up.
Yeah. And it was like, those kind of things made the whole match fun, and it gave me much more fun than I anticipated from that match.
It felt like an Impact match, to be honest.
it does have that frenetic kind of energy.
It had total non-stop action, some would say.
Especially when Hardy Boys there, it's like, oh well, looking at like watching TNA right now.
I really, really like the Hardys. To see them come back was like crazy cool for me. I was having a ball when I saw them come in. I was just like, oh my god, it's awesome. They continued their quest for gold, and they eventually did win the tag team titles by going up there and yeah.
I liked how they had to cut away before Matt could say anything. He was going to say something, they cut, like show the highlights.
He started doing the delete thing, and they had to cut from that as
well. But yeah, I'm happy that they're tag team champs. I'm sad that Enzo and Cass will probably they suffered during that. In the fact that if this wasn't in the works for a long time, and since the firing from TNA was recent, I feel like it must. I can understand how Enzo and Cass must feel, is what I'm saying. Like, to work all that time and get the crowd so over, and then just be like, okay, I guess we have to wait again. Enzo obviously does, as I've mentioned before, need the work on his wrestling skills, but as far as the mic work is concerned, even though I might not be 100% behind every single promo he does, the crowd is, and that's like a big deal considering that almost nobody else, no other new talent can get that kind of reaction.
You're not selling ice creams yet. I mean, they've sold chicken, but...
Yeah, and yeah, so I thought that was really great. That was like one of the highlights of the entire event, and that is definitely a tick in the box to, hey, this was a good WrestleMania.
Who knows, this might actually work in their favour, because they might act like some of the Hardy Boys stuff might rub off onto them, or they might, team up down the line. That's
a question I offer you guys. Do you think that the Hardys are going to be able to use their broken characters, since that is currently what TNA is trying to legally say they cannot do, that they own the broken identity?
Probably not. They'll just make a new gimmick because they're the fucking Hardy Boys.
And I think that the crowd is already so established in those characters that they could, like, even if he doesn't say delete,
Yeah, everyone.
Then and so if like Matt does
The
one
entire
way, they'll be like
WWE
delete,
crowd
and then
was
Jeff does
chanting
the
delete.
opposite, and they'll be like obsolete. So yeah, it's just like
And like he could just be like, my brother Jeff, and it would be like, Brother Nero. There was a Brother Nero chant.
yeah.
So it's yeah. But I mean, smart move by them as well, because they're like, if they need any of the help legally, it's just like WWE is like, send in the lawyers,
So
and it'd be a win-win for them, because like we'll get all that Hardy Boys money, and we
What's
get
the
to,
last thing that TNA has that's worth taking?
and yeah, we can Impact Wrestling, we can kick them in the balls again.
yeah, well, I mean, this one I can at least say that Impact did it to themselves. I mean, it was the Hardy.
Hour, wasn't it?
Yeah, that
Fuck that
the
out.
Hardys
Fuck that.
were able to like keep TNA afloat for such a long time, and now that they're gone, I'm not sure, but we'll see. That's been said of them
always
before.
Mexico.
There's always
So they got El
Mexico.
Patron, so
Yeah, Alberto is there, so I mean there is always Mexico. I mean,
Oh god.
the next match is definitely the one that I think could have been left off the card, and that is John Cena and Nikki Bella versus The Miz and Maurice. Now, I will say this, the promos leading up and the vignettes of the Total Bellas bullshit, those were great. I fucking loved them. I think that's some of Miz's best work.
probably the most like storytelling, going into WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And it was like a fucking almost throwaway match.
And that's the thing, even though there was all this stuff, I've got a little bit to say about that once we finish talking about most of it, but that build-up was great. I really enjoyed watching it, and I think Jesse, of all the people, who's the biggest Miz fan of the group, when I was talking to him, I was willing to admit during the match, hey, the Miz is pretty good. And then...
I was telling you 4 years ago, mate.
Exactly. So, Jesse, as the biggest Miz fan of the group, your thoughts on the match?
Well, that Miz doesn't get his strength from his matches. Let's just put that out. Like, he's strictly a gimmick, and if they give him enough, stuff to work with, he can make it really good. I enjoy when he just does, all the talk show stuff and everything like that. John Cena, on the other hand, he's good at talking smack with little to back it up. Besides, I'll always win because I'm John Cena. And I felt like, the whole build-up and everything was amazing. To be honest, the match I could have just ignored, and just if they had to finish that feud on just by doing the fucking talk show stuff, would be great.
I agree. The match was extremely throwaway. I don't really remember anything that happened in it. And this is only like a couple of, not even an hour ago, we finished watching.
You know what I remember? The Miz doing everything in that fucking match.
Yeah, when the Miz is carrying, you should be finding new people to wrestle.
I mean, because they couldn't get Randy Orton to do that match.
And so begins my mini rant. So, this entire thing was build up to, the whole payoff was John Cena will propose. And it's like,
fuck, I forgot.
Yeah, let's make an entire angle that just shows, the main dig at John Cena is that he'll never get married. I'm sure there were other digs that were...
Nikki.
Oh, well, that's just...
Because that was one of the jokes. It's like, he just turns around and goes, will you marry me, Miz?
And it's just like, out of all this stuff, and that was like the main dig at him, that was like the main character flaw they wanted to show off, that he's afraid of commitment. And so then at the end of that, they're like, oh yeah, but the one flaw we showed off, it's not really...
I was saying, the only way that John Cena can come back from this fucking feud is if he actually marries her.
Yeah. And that's it, that's what...
Either he's doing a heel turn, or he's going to marry her.
And yeah, exactly.
The first one's ever going to happen.
I got really, like... This match was like
the bondage of two people. I was like, oh my god.
I get teary-eyed
so
over
cute.
a different kind of bondage, but I mean, like, not over the union of two people of John Cena and Nikki Bella.
Sex Nazians.
I mean, people will be like, oh, it's so nice that he finally did it, and oh, he used her real name, and they broke the story just so that they could show the love, and I'm like,
now I can't be invested.
So you know how one of my gripes has been that John Cena relies on other people to get him over, even to the point of Make-A-Wish kids.
Yep.
He'll be like, no, you have to like me because, Make-A-Wish kids. Now it's like, yeah, but I got married. I got married and I did it for her, and that's what we all did. And remember how you were like groggy in the hospital and I
Shouldn't
asked you
get
that
married,
one thing?
whatever.
Remember how I gave you that concussion?
I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Shit, John. No, shit, John.
But yeah, and it was just like this was completely throwaway, and they only put it on the
I
thing.
find the marriage between Triple H and fucking the other one more
Stephanie.
believable.
The other one?
Yeah, the other one. Yeah, I find their fucking marriage more believable and better than fucking.
In John's own words,
It's
I
just,
don't
it's just
find that
because
believable.
fucking John Cena has no emotion. He's like a fucking fish.
And that's the only way they can get him to like
He
fucking
wrestles
connect
like a
with
fish.
the audience is because they're like, hey, look, he's getting married. You're all like the idea of
Yeah,
marriage
but
and
his
stuff.
target audience is like girls are gross.
Yeah, well, his target audience is people that watch Total Bellas because they're coming in from the Nikki side and they're like, oh, it's Nikki's boyfriend, blah blah blah, and so now they're like, oh yay, Nikki's finally getting married, and there's a lot of crossover between Nikki Bella's popularity and the Total Bellas show. Like people watch Total Bellas and then apparently, according to statistics, they do actually follow through into watching the wrestling segments with Nikki Bella,
Well, I guess they're doing something.
and that's it. So I mean,
It's a
like.
good thing to build an entire fucking division on.
At the end of this as well, when it was like John Cena in leading up to this was like, we're going to destroy you at WrestleMania, this and that and the other, and talking all this shit to the Miz and Maurice. It's like
Talking Smack is the name of the show.
that is the name of the show, but they were just talking shit.
When
So
they're
it's
young.
like when they finally beat Miz and Maurice, it was just like, oh yeah, and
Just
you know,
beat Miz.
continue the nail in the coffin. But I noticed that John Cena wasn't getting cheered when he came out, and there was the John Cena sucks song. That yeah.
As we were saying with
He's
the
a
Hall of
cuck.
Fame thing, he's just like, see, they say I suck just like Kurt Angle. I'm not even in the Hall of Fame yet, guys. Never give up.
Never give up.
Never give up.
Maybe I'll marry you one day.
Oh, John.
So Ryan, your next match that you were looking forward to the most was the one up next, which was Seth Rollins versus Triple H. Aside from Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, this was the match that you told me that you were looking forward to, like to see how it would go. And out of the two, before you even get started on talking about Seth Rollins and Triple H, which one do you think was stronger?
Story-wise, probably the Seth Rollins Triple H one.
Okay.
I kind of feel like they, even though they really drove over the point of his knee.
I hope that he didn't forget at the start of the match which knee it was, because it's like they're like, oh, he's
No,
grabbing
the commentators
yeah, the grab.
fucking did.
Yeah.
So I think it was Byron Saxton, but
Corey Graves.
it was Corey Graves. I was gonna say Corey Graves. I'm like, no, Byron had to do something this WrestleMania.
Well, you were wrong about that. He does
I know.
nothing like always.
They need just that pot plant that Dean Ambrose had would probably be a better commentator.
So Triple H versus Seth Rollins. Obviously, like Triple H has his fucking elaborate entrances that he does at every WrestleMania. The bikes and bike. I don't know. And then fucking like, okay, that's the
Sprays
budget.
water in the air and it goes just like covers Stephanie.
Yeah.
I guess this was symbolism for later on, maybe.
And it's just like, clearly it's like, oh, there goes all the entrance budget, because then fucking Seth Rollins comes out with the stick on fire.
Yeah.
It's just
I
like,
mean,
that's
that
my
was
entrance.
cool because the whole part.
The fire going
I don't
down.
and the fire going down. I
I
mean,
didn't get the reference. I was like, Olympics. Okay.
But
but
Ryan,
Steph was ready to ride his bike.
ready to ride something. Triple H,
Hold of a
Ryan.
dick.
Triple H, one of your favourites of
Yeah.
all time. Seth Rollins, you have
One of
the
your
shirts.
favourites.
I
of
do.
all
One of-
time.
he's probably, I might make the assumption that he is one of your favourite up and comers. He's not an up and comer anymore, I suppose,
No.
because he's well established now.
But
But
he's the future, man.
But well, I guess it finally cements him as a face, whereas like he's been sort of that that tweener kind of, which has been doing his face turn really shit for like the past year. So
and your thoughts on the match?
on the match was really good. Like there was some really good spots. I'm trying to actually think of
Any
besides
spots, though?
it was there's like the knee. There was so
Stephanie
many
going through a table at the
Yeah,
end.
that was at the end. I'm like, I didn't want to say that one yet, but it pissed me
Fuck
off.
Stuart.
I hate how he still uses the fucking pedigree. He needs to do something else. I don't care like if it was like the Phoenix
Smedigree.
Smedigree.
But the people that come into
Definitely.
WWE have to be so homogenized. They have to be turned into the WWE mold of a wrestler. And so for
Anything else, I'd rather him do even if it was, you can't do like a punt. I know, if you did like a something else.
Punt.
I keep awkwardly winking at Jesse.
Why?
I don't know. It's just like trying to throw him off.
But he's the one talking.
No, but if you start making it like laughs, then Ryan will just look at you, and then like it was the last time when you would. Okay, I'm not going to say what you're doing. That's the podcast secret of what Jesse.
I mean,
Just on my dick.
I was gonna say, stoop your pants up, please.
Anyway, Ryan, it sounds to me, and I'm not meaning to throw you under the bus here, Ryan, but you don't have many memories of the match. Which
It was a lot of pedigrees, a lot of attempts at pedigrees. I remember them going into the outside. There was like the chair.
Immediately went to the outside.
They did too. It was straight away outside the ring, and then came back in. There was like the chairs, which was the fucking sledgehammer part as well, which didn't get used.
So, Triple H always wrestles methodically. He's always very
Cerebral.
no. He's always very.
You guys said S. What were you gonna say?
He's always
Sensual.
very
Stuart was gonna say sensual, very sensual wrestler.
serpentine in his
No, we know who's 17.
structured.
Not
He's very structured in his wrestling.
very stale.
That is a word that you could use as well, and I'd accept that because a lot of his matches are very crisp, very clean,
They're the
but
same.
not very memorable. Exactly. And Triple H can wrestle a very long match, and he'll never get gassed over it. He always keeps himself well in shape, but at the same time, yeah, he's not really doing anything.
His best match was with Brock Lesnar, I think.
It really shows that Triple H's favorite wrestlers are from like the 70s and the like early 80s, because that's the style of wrestler that Triple H aspires to be. He wants to be the old,
The Vern Gagne.
the Vern Gagnes, the Bruno Sammartinos, those kind of people that are like the wrestler archetype. Nothing fancy except his.
At his entrance next year, he comes out in a rocking chair.
Well, Seth Rollins, I was thinking that this was going to work to his advantage because since he had to sell the knee and all the match, it could be very slow paced. But there was a lot of things that Triple H was doing the whole match just to target the knee, and I can remember most of the knee targeting stuff, but they were very simplistic things just to work home to the arena.
You were giving shit about him. He's like stands on one announcer's chair, stands on the other one, jumps as high as he usually does, as you say. And,
yeah. Well, it's like, what's the point of standing on two chairs and then jumping as high as you normally do? Because people are like, oh shit, the chair though.
The
Oh.
chairs just make it so you might fall and hurt yourself.
Yeah, and it's like, why risk that? Why risk looking like a
It's the
moron?
risk that makes it entertaining.
There we go. That might be it.
It's
real risk
the
taking.
Hardy Boys, Triple H.
That's
Just same riskiness.
who goes above who on that list? I don't know. I mean, both pretty extreme.
Jesus.
I now throw to you, Jesse, because you don't care about either people in that match, and you weren't exactly a big fan of the build into WrestleMania. So, what was your thoughts?
I like the entrance. It was good. I didn't like Seth Rollins was a bit shit, so I didn't fucking understand what they're going for. Like if that's supposed to be a torch, what? I don't know. It's just dumb, but whatever. The actual match is I can't remember anything from it except for the Stephanie going through a table. That's the only thing I can remember, and that wasn't either of the wrestlers that's supposed to be wrestling. So that's something, right?
Brian, you had something on the tip of your tongue?
I was just gonna say, just after that chair shot, it's like he gets backstage, he's like to his daughters, he's like, "Wasn't I extreme, kids?" And they're like, yeah. That's what I was laughing about.
I gotta.
Oh yeah, he did. He went over to where Rich Dad's kids were, and they're like, "You surfer!" That was good.
Kind of expected Samoa Joe maybe to turn up into this match.
He didn't. They kept it very much like a proper match, and they wanted to show off
This
that,
is the end of the feud, hopefully.
or at least that they wanted to show that Triple H and Seth Rollins were worth having the singles match uninterrupted.
Too bad Sting couldn't.
So we do have at the very end, we do have Seth Rollins winning.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, what's your thoughts on that? Because I remember you did not like the fact that he used the pedigree to finish the match.
It's just so shit, and I'm so overseeing it, but it's not gonna fucking change. I mean, his ring attire was cool, the gold, you know, representing fucking the Order realm in Mortal Kombat, but
I'm sure that's what he was doing.
hey, up here,
Yeah.
that's where it counts.
Fucking hell.
And Ryan, if you could like explain to Jesse why you like Seth Rollins, because, and you know, you might even have to start explaining to me, because
Please explain.
I know that Seth is capable as a wrestler. I know that he does better heel work, but I mean, you're still a staunch supporter of him.
And after that,
You have
explain why you
been
like
a
Finn
little
Balor.
critical of him not deciding to go full face and just, you know, be a tweener, but, you know, thoughts, or could you explain to us why you like him
it's
still?
just like, as a few years ago, it was like all these new wrestlers coming in. It's like, all right, we're ushering in, you know, the new generation in. It's going to be, you know, going. I went all in on somebody, and that someone was, you know, Seth Rollins.
Could have been Roman Reigns.
Could have been Roman Reigns.
Rolled rain.
Roland Reign in this bitch.
Drive by. Believe that.
Cock in the fist and then fist in the cock.
There's a lot of that.
And I liked Dean Ambrose more of the Shield, and he wasn't even on the show. So I mean,
Yeah.
glad I'm not a fucking betting man. So
Well, yeah, he's sort of stuck as, you know,
he is the perfect. When you think Intercontinental Champion, you think of Dean Ambrose.
I think of The Miz.
Yeah. And well, that's the kind of caliber. You don't think of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like even someone like Rusev, who you'd think is like just that middle ground heel. People would be like, oh, WWE champ. I'd be like, yeah, I could see that.
I kind of wanted Baron Corbin to get it because I thought that would be really good, and then he could just be like, fuck everybody, because that's his gimmick at the moment, is fuck
I'm the lone
everybody. The lone wolf cannot be leader of the pack.
And Jesse, your thoughts of the match at the end? Like Seth Rollins wins. Story. Do you think it ends? What do you think?
I hope it ends because that'll let fucking Seth Rollins do something else. I don't know what else we would do. Maybe he can go after like, I don't know, Kevin Owens maybe? Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, I like that.
Other than that, like, he needs to, you know, have something besides authority, because authority is like a fucking, you just caught this miasma of just like, well, I guess I'm fighting with the authority for another 6 months.
He'll probably feud with Samoa Joe since they got some stuff to work through.
That seems about right. And I agree with Jesse's observation that the authority just seems like once you're there. You're going to be fighting them for the rest of your life.
Triple H wants to be cool for WrestleMania, so he just fucking prolongs the fight until WrestleMania.
It's like the fucking game show of guess who's relevant again, and then the Triple H was like, "Ooh, is it me? Is it me?" And it's like, no.
It's always.
but anyway, our next match.
The game show.
Speaking of like
Release the
relevance
game.
and people like moving up, new talent. Arguably, once again, it took the same amount of time. He came in at the same time as the Shield almost, but Bray Wyatt was up next against Randy Orton, and
That's right, the
This
concert
match-
was next. I couldn't...
the build to this match was like very early '90s, like in some of the
Yeah.
craziest stuff that was happening, and it's just
Yeah,
like,
it
what the
was good.
fuck?
almost
Like,
expected Bray Wyatt to come out with a clock in his mouth.
and I do love what they were doing. He said clock, by the way.
I was going to emphasise to Jesse. Jesse's looking around here.
I
So
just assumed it was cock.
That's your fan fiction.
a snake.
Oh god, the
So-
I'm going to get...
I really liked the build to this match. It was good old fashioned dumb wrestling stuff. It was fun to watch and it was cool to see. I think Randy Orton did really well in the feud and he was able to sort of come to the table with the same amount of crazy that Bray Wyatt's character brings. And
His voice is in his head.
they talk to him, but
Yeah.
Understands. He talks to him.
So going into this match, I didn't know what to expect because I was like, Randy Orton can work really well. Bray Wyatt's okay. He can do things.
He can spider walk backwards, upside down.
Oh, but we found out you can do more than that.
Like he can summon projections.
Yeah.
And so
that's
Randy
dumb.
got stuck in a pit of maggots. Oh.
Every time I saw
And
that, I
worms.
was like,
Oh.
this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
And crickets.
Whoa. Scary.
Crickets
Ultimate
is-
thrill ride.
But they're big crickets though. So it's like,
They
ooh.
were pretty big. They were like half the size of Randy Orton.
Randy
Yeah.
Orton is commonly used to judge the size of most entomological
That
creatures.
cow was like Randy Orton and a half.
That's big.
It was a big cow.
But this match, entrance for Bray Wyatt, a little disappointing. Don't get me wrong. The spectacle of just the size of the arena and seeing how many people were there, that was cool in itself. But it's like that's nothing special for
This
a
should be the
WrestleMania.
last time that happens.
Yes.
Well, you said that you'd like the Scarecrow one.
Yeah.
That would have been cooler though if that was at night,
Yeah.
where this was at night, no scarecrows.
And so we get Randy Orton
Were they got like
But kickers, man, were they?
were they got like a curfew?
Randy Orton's Viper on the walkway going down. It was a little derpy.
It looked so
The-
shit.
or-
And it was like had 2 frames a second.
We gave it the name of Jank the Snake Roberts.
Jank
but
Jake the snake.
so
The jank of snakes.
he kept going on, and every time he'd stop, you'd see like the snake would stop with him. It was entertaining. It was a bit of fun. So when they get to the match, a standard like it was a good match.
It was Randy Orton.
It was a Randy Orton match. And we've always said that Randy Orton is good at wrestling. If you can't wrestle with Randy Orton, you can't wrestle. And Bray Wyatt proved that he can wrestle because it was an interesting match. Although I can understand where some people might come from saying that, and then it all ended with an RKO, and then very quickly, and then Randy Orton was the champion. Now I remember at the end of the match, Ryan, you were saying that you did not like the fact that Randy Orton was champion.
I thought, to give Bray time, like he wins his first, and they'll, building up. But I suppose the angle they're going to go with this is he'll go back to Luke, and he'll go back to Rowan and be like, I didn't mean to disown you. He did it. He ripped us apart. Let's be a family together, and the Whites will get back together. And they'll go and win like tag belts.
I reckon that'd be dumb. I reckon he should go.
Ryan
all
looks
the
so
papers.
fucking dismissed today.
Just all the papers on the desk.
I reckon he should go and attach himself to some other group already, like maybe the Bullet Club or.
Bo Dallas.
He should just like try and get like a new. He doesn't need. He needs to build a hit squad to fight Randy Orton basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what he should do. And I think Randy Orton is fine as a champion because then at least you know that the next champion match is going to be a good match.
Yep. And
Do you think Luke might get the next
God,
champions
no.
match? Well, we've already
Maybe
seen
next
that.
Intercontinental.
Because that Intercontinental run was so good with him.
I mean, maybe better now.
with Randy Orton and the build-up of the story, what did you think of it, Jesse?
I like the build-up. I like that you can just decide what the build-up was. Like, he burned a house down, and then the guy was like, "I'm glad you did that, even though I wasn't." And now there's now I have this train crossing sign,
Which
I'm
I can
gonna-
curse you with, apparently.
and I'm gonna stab the ground of the house I've already burnt down, but there's worms in there now. And time to fight.
Time to hunt.
And then there was a random pregnant lady, and she had
Sin
written
her
on
belly.
the thing. So that's,
Jim!
who knows? Maybe they'll send out like a I don't know, have some gimmick of oh, I'm actually the spawn of the devil or some shit.
Could be.
Maybe Bray Wyatt will go and since they've basically killed off the Undertaker, he'll absorb his power and become actually this generation Undertaker.
Well, he has to fight Baron Corbin to get back his title, Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, because now Bray Wyatt is this generation. Baron Corbin is this generation's Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin is this generation's last generation's Undertaker.
It's true. And
very
the more
true.
you think about it, the more confusing, but the more correct it becomes. It's
Like life.
the next
I
match
hate that game.
is the one that I feel like I'm going to have to defend. So I'm going to defer for a little bit. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about what I like when it comes to the Randy Orton match.
Oh.
I was like, yeah, you see, this is what I had to be ready for. So I'm fine with Randy Orton being the champion. He's always a good champion, solid champion. When you get to Bray Wyatt had it for a long time. I feel it's just I think you're Elimination Chamber. He got it, and he wasn't really going to do anything with it because he's got no Wyatt family. If he beat Randy Orton, where does that continue on with him? I suppose, because he'd be the champion and no one else would be.
Could cement it. It's just here he is. He's finally come of age, and then maybe
But I feel like
possibly
that.
AJ Styles. I'm just trying to think. John Cena's leaving. Maybe give the Miz a shot at. I guess.
But you're gonna have that means you're gonna have the Miz feuding against Bray Wyatt, which is Miz is gonna be like, you're fucking weird.
Hey, you could be like, oh, I get all your fucking smoke and mirrors, and does shitty horror movie takes, and just be like,
He could, and I definitely see him doing something dumb monster movie from the 30s, and he's like, oh, that's what I think of you, Bray Wyatt. But then again, it's just like Bray Wyatt's just gonna no-sell most of that and be just like, I'm a fucking cult guy, and then the match is gonna come, and then I can't see Miz beating Bray.
The only way that can
No.
work is if the Miz actually proves him wrong.
Yeah.
But that's the only way that could end, satisfying.
And I think that Bray Wyatt was shown to be skilled and that he had made a man out of himself once he won the Elimination Chamber. Because that,
Much
even
like
in the canon of the WWE, in the kayfabe, the Elimination Chamber is an artifice of death, a domicile of destruction, as they like constantly say. Apparently it's like literally walking into fucking hell. Like when you do that.
It's not Hell in a Cell.
It's not Hell in a Cell.
Don't get that confused.
Don't be a shitty announcer. So when you go in there, it's like
Nakamura.
yeah, you could end your career by going in there and fucking up. So it's like, and then by winning that, it does add a little bit of credibility to him, and he also became a champion out of that. So I mean, I think that he's already proved himself. He's established himself as the leader of the Wyatts.
Well, I never thought that he would be champion.
Yeah, and then he does.
Like
and it's
maybe Intercontinental champion or US champion, maybe tag champ, but didn't think he would be WWE champion.
and he was, and so that's like I really feel that was cool. That's what I wanted, and I remember on the Elimination Chamber review I was saying that I was really pleased with it, and they made me give a fuck about Bray Wyatt. Anyway, I'm gonna have to start preparing for this, but there was Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. Now, I have my thoughts on the match, and I'll throw them out after, because I see you're stroking your beard over there, Ryan. And you've got
Yes, beard.
you've probably got something to say. So what do you have to say about the match?
For me, this was probably the least anticipated match for me. I did not give a fuck, to be honest. I'm like, this is how it's going to end. I reckon it's going to end this way, and it'd be likely to go for 10 minutes. And
You were looking forward to the SmackDown's Women's Championship Scramble more than this?
no, well, that was on the pre-show.
There shouldn't be a match called Scramble.
Yeah.
Make me think
board
of
game.
eggs.
Fair enough.
Scrambled eggs, but
No, I know scrambled eggs.
I was thinking of like a board game. I was like, like Boggle, but like match word.
So continue, Ryan.
but it was like
It'll sell millions, guys. Shut up.
I think, as I've stated
Prove me wrong, does he?
in the Fastlane review, that I just don't care. I don't have the nostalgia factor, coming into this match. I just don't care. I hate Brock Lesnar, and it's just
You
like
just don't care.
I just don't care. I just don't care. Drops mic.
I think Jesse was you said you don't care, and then you said that you had like a particular thought over one of the people. It's like, well, you care then, don't you?
But I didn't care about Goldberg, and that's the whole point of this fucking angle. Is like, look how good Goldberg is. Look, he came back.
You could have gone.
Look at
for,
this shit.
Could have gone for Brock Lesnar. Though.
But I fucking hate Brock
Then
Lesnar.
you could have gone for Goldberg.
But I don't care about Goldberg.
Does
So
it
do
not
you care?
count
Do you
with?
care about Brock Lesnar losing?
It's just like he lost. I'm
Do you
like,
care about seeing Brock
oh.
Lesnar lose again in fucking 80 seconds?
But the thing is,
Do you hate him that
Which would
much?
have tarnished Brock Lesnar forever.
yeah, but it wasn't gonna happen. I knew
But it
was-
could have.
But it wasn't. I knew he was gonna walk out of there
That's-
champion.
Where's your suspension of disbelief? You're watching wrestling, man.
I mean, I
Anyway.
just saw giant maggots before.
Yeah.
Randy
It's fucking
Randy Orton-sized maggots before.
Magic.
But yeah, so this was almost a piss break match.
This
for
one?
me,
Okay.
for me, it's not gonna be for anyone else. I just had no investment.
If you had one piss break match to take,
Out of the entire card, you're
Ooh.
telling me that this would be the piss break
No,
match?
no, there was many piss breaks.
you only have 5 minutes to piss, man.
Yeah, didn't even last 5 minutes, man.
I mean, neither do you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway.
I'm not gonna answer that. I was.
There you go. No deniability there.
So, were those your main criticisms, Ryan?
It's just like, it was not the match for me.
Okay.
So I was never gonna enjoy this match. I
It's
didn't
not
care.
for you.
It's not for you, Ryan. So, and I just didn't care.
Jesse.
Well, it was. I don't know. I feel like that entire match was built wrong. I feel like they thought that like, oh man, yeah, but there's no way he could possibly lose 3 times. It's like I feel like they expected the crowd to still expect Brock Lesnar to win, so they had to like push Goldberg more than he already was.
People getting shitty, they were booing Goldberg, and it's like, this is what you fucking wanted. You wanted this.
I feel like it'd be hard to like have a main event with Goldberg in it just because of how he works. Because like it's like, oh well, let's have a main event that'll only last this amount of time and consists of basically 2 moves. It's like, will that leave people, you know, upset? Like, yeah, well, the gimmick has to be pretty strong for that to happen. So you'll have people like Ryan who are like, I don't know this gimmick, so I don't care about this gimmick. That'll have like, you know, issues that way. Or you'll have people that's like, well, I mean, I want to see Goldberg, and it's kind of hard when he just goes out there for fucking like 2 minutes and then leaves.
And when you said you had issues with the way that it was booked, for the people at home, one of the issues was you wanted to see Brock Lesnar look like he was training and getting ready for this fight.
Yeah,
There wasn't that.
For me, it was just fucking just the same. Like they haven't changed the way that they're booking, like, and the way they're promoting fucking Brock Lesnar. They haven't changed the way they do it since they got fucking Paul Heyman on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's went, my client is gonna beat X by doing suplexes, and then the next fucking feud, my client is gonna beat X, and then like even if he loses, my client is gonna beat him using suplexes. Like fucking, you think that for all of his experience, Paul Heyman will be able to say more than one thing about the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is he actually allowed to say more, or are they just like, here's the script?
If he's not allowed to say more, they're fucking doing it wrong, and need to change that either way.
Like, they could have, for me, they could have showed, like, a video of, like, I don't know, Brock Lesnar somewhere, maybe in, like, a fucking, abandoned warehouse, just getting super pissed off. Just, like, how does he keep beating me?
Well,
And just...
having seen a match, I feel like how they booked him was very much intentional. Like, they want you to think that Goldberg's just gonna beat him, because he comes out and immediately just like you need the shock of like, oh man, he just fucking suplexed him 3 times and he thinks he's won. Like, they still need to have that. The match in general though, I enjoyed the first part of it, then sort of slowed down, I feel. But like, just like the first opening volleys of like fucking suplexes him like 3 or 4 times, gets up, thinks he's won, and just fucking just the camera like just gets like blown out of the camera, like the spit just comes from the side, like, oh shit. I know, I felt it looked really good. Again though, then it just sort of like goes back down to like, okay, then we've done the opening volley, now let's do the exact same thing again, because each of us have 2 moves that we'll do.
Did they get to about 10 German suplexes, I think? Or was 9 or 10?
It was around there.
Brock Lesnar does the sloppiest fucking suplexes. Like, yeah, they look more painful, but yeah, they don't look like fucking suplexes.
This is true.
Because, you know, Brock Lesnar's known for his,
It's just, he just throws people around. It's not a fucking suplex.
Alright, and what did you think of the ending of the match, both of you, before I get into this?
Well, it's what I expected. It's like Goldberg walks out defeated, and Brock Lesnar is champion. And
You expect that?
I expected, Brock Lesnar to win and become champion, and Goldberg's just like, that was a nice title run I had.
And Jesse?
I suppose he kind of needed to. I feel like because like he only had one more title run in there, so you can't just, oh man, he won and then now he's gonna leave. So it's kind of like it sort of ends on a full stop, and then there's no like, yeah, and then after that happens, so like it's impossible to build anything after that. So
Glad they gave the win to that up and comer.
I mean, compared to Goldberg, it's pretty up and coming. But I don't know.
So
Brock Lesnar's always a good title holder though.
it's true. He definitely adds that level of credibility to the title. I obviously have been the most vocal supporter of Goldberg, and Ryan and I have gone back and forward on this because I've been trying to be like, no, this is what it is, Ryan, and then Ryan will be like, I don't care. It doesn't bother.
I'm just stonewalling him, just like, nah.
Yep, and that's completely fine. I'm happy to have this debate, or at least give my perspective. So I'm
Like, I
actually
understand.
wearing a Goldberg shirt right now because I really like Goldberg.
It's actually wrong, that shirt now, too.
And the devastation continued for a point. So, I mean, I was really happy when he came back. And I'm not going to go into that because you can hear all about that on previous reviews for wrestling events. This match, I knew that there was going to be the title reign had to stop somewhere. And I know that one of your criticisms was that, he gave it to such an up-and-comer. Who else beats Goldberg in that
Yeah, no one
company?
beats Goldberg.
Yeah,
That's
so
the
it's
thing.
like...
Maybe they could have gave it to Braun Strowman, but that
One
match
of
was
those
never gonna happen.
maggots that's like 1.5 Randy Orton's.
I mean, sign that maggot up. I mean,
That maggot's got a
give it a maggot a contract.
So, Brock Lesnar and Goldberg, that was something that I would have seen as the main event. I could have seen that as the main event. But it wasn't, and I think that even serves even better because people will look back and be like, it was in that range, it wasn't the main event, it wasn't the go-home feeling. But what happened is, yes, the crowd started to boo Goldberg, but at the same time they were chanting Goldberg through it, and they were really shouting and being happy when he was bringing the fight to Brock Lesnar as well. It would seem to be that even divide between the crowd where people were just like in the same boots as Ryan and all in the same boots as me, or even in the same boots as Jesse, where it's just like, these are the criticisms I have, but I still like the character. Goldberg worked very hard in terms of the gym work, and I'm not even going to include that because that's expected of him. What I am going to say, however, is Goldberg wasn't going to hold this title forever, and that by losing to Brock Lesnar, it at least means that when Goldberg goes away, Brock Lesnar isn't completely left feeling like, oh yeah, but...
Yeah, no credibility.
Yeah, he has... So the thing about Brock Lesnar is, like, he's got the MMA background, he's got... He's meant to be like, there's the one guy you don't go near in the locker room, and that's him because he'll just fuck you up. He's not a nice guy. He doesn't like to talk. And then he was beaten twice by Goldberg, he was beaten by Goldberg in a minute, and then he was thrown out of the Rumble very succinctly. And then leading up to WrestleMania, he was speared and had to walk and limp away quickly so that he would still be in fighting condition a week later for WrestleMania. Goldberg and Brock Lesnar is the same as two titans fighting. It is like there's a lot of intense, powerful energy. It doesn't need to go for 10 minutes because everything that happened in that match was powerful, was succinct. It drove home a point. It's like these guys are trying to kill each other, and if any normal person was in the way of either of these things, they'd be dead. It's like, okay, you get speared by Goldberg, and the comparison that the announcers always make, which is a little over-exaggerated, but fuck, it's wrestling. It's like stepping in front of a train.
It's chilling.
Yeah, it's chilling, really. You get suplexed by Brock Lesnar or F5'd by Brock Lesnar, or even just fucking looked at the wrong way by Brock Lesnar, you're going to die. It's just like, these are two people that have the most credibility out of the entire roster at the moment. And if someone's like, yeah, but I like John Cena, I'm just like, but John Cena can't fucking walk. And so it's like, then I look at these, like,
Really
Goldberg
can't.
and Brock Lesnar, and it's like, these guys...
Can walk.
They can, well, full stop, yeah. So it's like, that's the thing, but these guys look like wrestlers. They look like people that could hold championships. These guys look like if you approached them on the street, they would fuck you up. And I liked the fact that this match was really succinct, really short. It was over 3 minutes. It was, I think we clocked it in at 4 minutes and 47 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. I like how it was. If Goldberg would win, I don't know how they would take the title off him unless it was just the next night. I think Goldberg had an amazing run here, and to his criticism of only being able to do two moves, one of the gimmicks of Goldberg was that he would always do a new move every time he got into the ring with an opponent. So I mean, in that respect, he has 172 moves in his move list. But I'm not going to give him that either, because that if you don't do them all the time, then I'm not going to say it's part of your repertoire. It's just like how fucking John Cena will break out a Hurricane Rana, and then there's like, oh my god, he can do the Hurricane Rana, and then
Almost breaks his neck.
Yeah. Spear, Jackhammer, they're both very powerful moves. They're both meant to intimidate, meant to carry a certain weight with them, and I will say that by not doing anything else than those, I can understand a point of your contention.
At least Goldberg can fucking spear.
And that he can. I was pleased with the match. I would have liked it to go maybe a bit longer, but at the same time, it's fine. I understand where they're coming from, and not every fight needs to be 10 minutes
A
or longer.
60-man Iron Man.
Well, it's
Exactly.
a good spot where like he just got fucking speared right through the fucking
the barricade, yeah.
And like that barrier got fucked up.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
much more than they usually do.
Brock
It's
Lesnar
kinda
got
cool.
cut open by the barricade.
It's true, and like even like some of those suplexes, sloppy as they were, you could feel the impact of all of them, and it was like really fast.
They
It's
put
like-
more bass into the thing this time.
Yeah.
So I think specifically because of the suplexes.
and I enjoyed the match. So I mean, while the young kid in me wishes that Goldberg could be, reign forever, I know that the reign had to stop, and out of all the people, Brock Lesnar is the most credible to do it. I think I agree with Jesse, however, on the stupidity of the booking, in the fact that I'm supposed to expect that, oh man, Goldberg's destroyed Brock Lesnar succinctly, like every time, and then on the night or the week before WrestleMania, he gets fucking wrecked by a single spear and has to limp out the back, and it's like, you're supposed to promote credibility amongst this guy. So I mean, by having him win, it's good for the company. It's a little dumb, but that's how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, as I've said, it's like unlike you, Stuart, I never grew up with Goldberg. If I had, or if I watched like all of his matches in WCW, and I would have been like, maybe I could have been like,
I
that's
watched,
where he's going.
50 to 100
Which is interesting, because Jesse had the same experience as you, and has a different opinion, which I'm not going to speak
Well,
for you.
that's because I runs into my yang, so
Which was so anyway. This match was fucking 20 times better than the fucking next one, with Naomi versus Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Mickie James, Natalya, and Carmella. What the fuck was that match? Like,
That was a nothing match.
I mean,
Like, I know I was giving shit about.
You're more interested in if Mickie James was fucking Native American or
Well, she
not.
came out in a headdress and all that. I'm like,
probably shouldn't do that unless yeah,
yeah, but we found out.
she was.
Yeah.
So
But it was like, what was it? Social media. People were saying this shouldn't be on the pre-show. They moved it because of the backlash onto the main event. It was pre-show quality.
To be
Yeah.
fair, it was better than the previous scuffle.
Was it because there was more bodies in it?
No, it was because it had Mickie James in it.
well, and like Mickie James is definitely very talented. Same with Natalya. I know that.
I noticed one spot in the entire match. I was like, oh man, that was really good. Like, oh yeah, it's Mickie James.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, for the most part, a lot of the work in the match was sloppy. It was like fucking, it was like diarrhea hour.
Yeah. It was like, you get a spot, you get a spot. James Ellsworth had 2 spots in that fucking match. 2. He grabbed someone from the ropes, and then he got thrown.
And
I can't think it was Becky Lynch.
yeah, it was.
I don't know, doing a fucking...
Does anyone give a fuck about Becky Lynch?
No.
That, I mean, out of anyone in the match, I can see why like people like Naomi. I was fine with Naomi winning.
I mean, they probably shouldn't have taken the belt off her.
yeah, like why would you take the belt off her then if you're just going
And
to
for
do
me,
this?
I thought it would
Because
have
they
been...
wanted to do this.
And it wasn't good.
They had to have a reason for doing
Her match at Elimination Chamber was way better.
Hmm.
And they gave it to her then, when they could have given it to her now. And it's like, her hometown. So, because we were arguing before about, Bayley, she wanted to go on the WrestleMania as champion. I thought if they got to, Flair was going to lose, Charlotte was going to lose, it should have been there, not at fucking Fastlane.
So, and stop me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but Ryan's psychology for a lot of the WrestleMania matches is it's the time to make your name, not prove your name. So he's like, you go into WrestleMania looking for the title changes, and not saying that that's all you look forward to, but it's just you prefer someone chasing after the belt. You find it more exciting because then they get the belt, and you're like, yeah, that's cool, rather than someone like retaining the belt unless they're a challenger you feel
I
isn't
feel like-
worthy of it.
I feel like the counterpoint. WrestleMania you should only be going to WrestleMania if you've earned it. So it's kind of hard to have like an up and coming guy, like fucking having people like Fandango debut on the thing and like he gets the belt. Were you happy about that?
No, well, he didn't get it. So, but he beat Chris Jericho, and look what happened to him. It's just like it just seems like a better story. It's an easier story to tell than what fuck happened there. It was just like, just throw everyone in. But I guess the whole thing they're setting up for is that women's tournament. That was it. I guess.
I mean, I'm glad that if there's anything that these matches showcase, it's that, as I said earlier, the women's division really needs more faces in it.
But it has. The only thing I could say that's good was
That Pitbull song.
no.
I don't even remember how it goes. All I know is this.
Red light, green light, take a shot. Red light. That's.
Oh.
Worldwide. No, but that we've come a long
I feel
way.
like that's like cheap. Anyone can say a Pitbull. What's that Pitbull song? It's Mr. Worldwide.
Mr.
Like,
Worldwide.
yeah, that one.
Dope ball.
He's
Name of the game.
the women's division has come a long way from when we
Definitely.
watched it at like the Divas division.
No
so,
longer the piss
Long
break.
way.
Apparently, that's Brock versus Goldberg.
Good,
To Ryan, at
bro.
least. But anyway,
I drank a lot of water.
What can I really say about that match? I didn't really care much for it. Nothing really to
was
say.
it-
What's there to say?
Was it pre-show quality?
I think that I would have much preferred to see either fucking Neville versus Austin Aries in that slot, or fucking Dean Ambrose versus Baron Corbin. Either of those matches had more build-up and were of a higher quality than what we got here. And I think that if someone's like making the argument, oh, but they deserve to be there, I was like, what fucking story was there for all of those people getting in there and just having this fucking... You know what? If you don't have a story, you're just like, okay, I put all the characters in an area and give them like one thing of motivation. And that's like, watch the story form out of them. And that's what they're trying to do, because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. The other people, it was like Baron Corbin, who's trying to be the serious lone wolf to the playful Dean Ambrose, who's like, oh yeah, I don't fucking care, you know, whatever, man, blah, blah, blah. And then Baron Corbin's trying to make it like, you know, take him seriously as a threat. And there was the whole forklift thing, and...
That fucking attempted murder.
Yeah, it had a lot of build-up to it, and we didn't see that match. And then it was fucking... Austin Aries goes from... He stops being a commentator, and he goes and he's like, I'm going to take the belt off you, Neville. And he goes, and Austin Aries is one of my favourite wrestlers of all time. Definitely one of my favourites in TNA. And they put that on the fucking pre-show, and it's just like...
Did he retain
Possibly.
that, or-
Yeah, that I don't think they got.
I don't know. Because it wasn't on the main event. Like, I do
So
know
he
I'm
just
in
did
a
not
fucking
never
dick.
won enough, 'cause I kind of
Yeah.
want him to win.
Exactly, but you were invested. You wanted to, by
Yeah.
saying, like, I wanted him to win.
That just proves what WWE thinks of the cruiserweights. They're just like, no one cares. We're not going to give them more than 5 minutes. You can watch 205 live. You won't. You could watch it, but you won't. And that's basically what they consider.
I feel like WWE is just like, you guys, you fucking indie marks, you fucking Ring of Honor bitches. Here's your show. Shut up. There's your show. If you want to complain about anything, this is the WWE house. There's a little 205 entrance over here. You can come in through that way. And if you like what you see, you can continue on into the house itself. But if that's all you want your little
Is it
flips.
in the yard, Stuart?
There you go.
You stay out of my yard, Jesse.
It's actually my yard.
Well, it's actually Roman Reigns' yard.
It's actually your yard because we're in your yard.
Because cutting to the end of the main event, or where Roman actually beats The Undertaker, because we're going to work backwards through this. Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker was weird to begin with. I understand that they set it up in the Royal Rumble, and I'm not dissatisfied with who... I don't think there was anyone else that The Undertaker could have picked, with the exception of maybe Goldberg, and that's how he...
That would have been a dumb fight.
Yeah, because then it's like, okay, although we got just as many fucking spears from Roman, so...
Not good spears, though.
Alright, spears.
It was one good spear.
One good
that he
spear,
did.
yeah. Two maybe. But
Hey, one good spear, dude.
this match was very slow paced, and I get that because, you know, The Undertaker, not only for his age and his slowly declining wrestling ability, but he was always very slow as part of the gimmick of being the dead man. That was his mannerisms to have, and that works in Roman's favour, who does one wrestling move, which is the Samoan drop, and obviously he's probably not going to do that.
Yeah, he didn't do it.
Yeah, so
No, he did Jesse's favourite.
the Superman punch. Fucking stupid as always still. Now was the chance to turn Roman heel, and they might have done it. He might be a heel now just because everyone fucking boos him.
Gonna have to wait to Raw, find out, and he'll probably come out and be like, well, sucker and succotash, why is everyone booing me?
As he punches a dog.
As he
My
punches
yard.
the dog, just get the fuck out of my yard.
I'm a big dog.
Believe that. Woof woof.
So, Jesse, Roman versus The Undertaker. What do you think?
Yeah, it was definitely a wrestling match. Well, I'd say that. Wasn't much actual wrestling going on in that match.
It's true.
A lot of, open hand strikes, that's a wrestling thing, right? Undertaker managed to, choke slam him into the
Table.
didn't break. Kind of disappointed about that.
But that spear that Roman did through
Yeah,
the Spanish announce
Yeah,
table.
that managed to break.
See, the Spanish announce table thought they got away with it. Like we went
He
through a
fucked
paper
up all of the tables.
Yeah, the German table next to it is just like, oh, fuck you.
I don't know. It was. I haven't been much of a fan of the Undertaker matches in general recently, just because of. Just let him go. Just stop. He should have stopped wrestling when Brock Lesnar beat him. That should have been the full stop in his career. Should have just ended there and be fine. But they keep on like, bring him back for one more. Let's do this. It's like he has no credibility, and there's no string at stake, so you almost don't care about the fight. So having it be the slow methodical thing that it is, with less and less moves every year, it's just like there's nothing else at stake besides watching the match. So you don't care about the match because, well, I'm here to be entertained by it and not getting that anymore. And I'm here to see a streak and not getting that anymore. There's no tense like, oh man, is he gonna beat him? Is he gonna lose? Like that? No. So like, I don't know. I feel like it's just we need. They're basically using Undertaker for like one last thing. Let's fucking do something with Roman Reigns. I guess they need to because
Let's
they've
try and put him
been
over as
trying
much
for
as we
so
can.
long to do it.
Which is interesting because they only kept him around because they're like, okay, we can. He keeps coming back after the Brock Lesnar thing because they're like, okay, but look, he could. What if he puts over Bray Wyatt and he didn't?
No,
Like,
he
they're
fucking
using
buried
him
him.
like Kane. Like fuck.
And then he came back and he tried to get his vengeance against Brock Lesnar in those SummerSlam matches, and he did and did not. It's like
Yeah,
when
it was
one,
weird.
yeah, he won, and he had to use like cheap shots to his groin to win, and it was like weird.
He was just dick punching.
Oh yeah, he grabbed Roman Reigns' dick.
Or tried to.
No, Roman Reigns. Yeah, no, he did.
Tried to, and then Roman was like, no, go.
Yeah, he's just, don't you grab my dick, grab dick. I fucking told you not to grab my dick.
So, apart from the Undertaker being a massive dick slave to Roman, like
One of my favourite spots was he has the chair. Roman like goes to get the chair and just fucking boots him, big boot in the head.
yeah,
And he's just like, yeah, nah, fuck you.
and that was cool. The Undertaker still had a couple of those impactful moves, and he took those chair shots pretty well.
I mean, for not having a fucking protective vest on.
Yeah, that will always be.
I can. That's why I can't. It's just like, oh no, I'm getting through a table or hit with a chair. Like, yeah, you got a vest.
How about we put a vest on you and throw you for a table?
All right, let's go.
Set it up.
That,
Stuart.
yeah, I'll set it up. That's on the record. Ryan, my question to you is: this is probably the last time we see the Undertaker. Does that make the match better or worse?
Depends what comes of this match, because if they do nothing with Roman Reigns and it's just like he's selling the most merch that for any full timer. So because they want all the kids to buy the fisting gloves and.
I don't want to hear any of this full time shit because I had a bit of a rant about that.
I know.
But
Yeah.
it's like the Undertaker's a part timer and he's in the main event.
Yeah. But it's just like out of
Should he be there?
Yeah, should he be?
Yeah.
Nah.
But yeah, it's just like the last couple of years he's been teasing his retirement. He left his hat a few years ago, left his gloves last year. It's like you just keep leaving shit.
He's left
Stop
all
it.
3 things now, though.
He didn't take off his boots though,
He left his Nemesis coat behind.
and his hat and his gloves. So maybe next year we'll get his
Make
boots
little
as well.
shit on the ground on the left. It's like, yeah, fuck you.
But yeah, if this was his last match, it's a bit sad. He's always wanted to put someone over.
Like that lady in the audience. This is sad.
Yeah. The fucking mouthing. This is sad.
Fucking, I hate how WWE just cuts to the crowd. We don't fucking care
It's
about.
always just some ugly faced fucking.
Or some.
piece of
Yeah, she's
shit.
extremely critical. It's always some ugly face piece of shit.
They had that one where it was like a little while ago. They're like, he was giving, like, Roman lost the US title. He's fucking giving the finger. They cut to him and it was like a near fall where the same dude that, and they cut it up. The pro says like, oh, that guy was so invested in Roman Reigns. It was like, no, he wasn't.
We know that the WWE's been doing selective cutting and crowd enhancing and trying to silence the boos and editing over cheers. That's just how the WWE are now.
But,
They have the technology to cover the fact that if you don't like the story they're presenting, they're not going to change it. They're just going to make you silenced. So they'll be like, all of a sudden Ryan will be chanting like, fuck you, Roman, and just be standing there, and then all of a sudden Ryan won't be saying anything, and you'll just hear cheers with his hands up.
You just hit Roman.
Roman! Roman!
But it's just like, kind of feel like another reason why Undertaker's been back is, you think of WrestleMania, Undertaker's like the first name that comes to mind. He's pretty synonymous with it. If they had him
Well,
from now,
he's synonymous out of the people that I'm allowed to mention, or the WWE tells me I'm allowed to mention.
I mean, they've been mentioning someone of late recently. I thought he might have shown up, but no, they had the Hardys. So
I prefer the Hardys
I
over
think
Hulk
everyone-
Hogan, which is just for the people at home, if you're not catching the old drift.
if you're not picking up what we're putting down,
Yeah.
Old drift.
Old,
wrinkly,
should have
tan,
drifted away, but
Continental drift.
fucking current keeps pulling it back, I guess.
Won't let it die.
Already is dead, just keeps drifting back. Like a corpse in a river.
He's more of a mummy than fucking Undertaker is.
It's really true, and the Undertaker's gimmick's being dead.
But yeah, it's like maybe in like future WrestleManias, if this was his retirement, maybe he could like, open the show,
Color commentator.
something like that.
Undertaker speaks very few words of it. What do you think, Undertaker? The match was...
Chilling.
If he said chilling, it would be amazing.
And that's it.
Wait, why did you make him do the Undertaker thing?
Like the snow.
Ultimate
Yeah,
Warrior
the Ultimate Warrior thing, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, just because that promo a little while ago, I think.
Oh, the Ultimate Warrior doing the snarl?
No, he did a snarl, but Undertaker did like a snarl recently.
He
Everyone
snarled.
He's a big dog.
It's his yard.
He was his yard.
Oh no, it was Raymond
No,
Reigns.
it wasn't though, it was Roman Reigns.
Now.
Raymond Reigns. Everybody loves Raymond Reigns. Jesse, Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker. Your thoughts? Build up and then the match.
Build up, there was none. I can't remember anything.
Okay,
about
so
the
Undertaker shows
He
up
had that great
instead of Braun Strowman. And then Roman's like, what are you doing here, man? Don't remember any of
That's
that?
the entire build up.
Well, pretty much, and then he keeps
Part of it.
trading,
Yeah, there
talking
was
shit
no
about
build-up,
Roman
even
and
up to him,
Undertaker.
there was no build up. There was a bit where it's like, I have a tombstone here, separate from the other tombstones I have. Why is he so fucking special?
Because there's shit on it.
Alright, Undertaker.
I don't. Like,
Just shows him opening the fiber
it was a
pills.
fucking. It was a pointless. It only served the purpose of putting over Roman Reigns. That was the only reason why that happened, and it was just like, well, I'm going to die soon. I might as well make someone else a bit over. He was doing the Sting thing of like, well, I might as well, help the little guy out. I mean, he's
Little
been booed
puppy.
enough.
Little dog.
Because like beating Sting is like you can come away from face with that. If you beat fucking Undertaker, you're always gonna be a heel. So it's like, well, it's sort of like cemented. Okay, this is what they're doing with Roman Reigns. If they go against that, it's fucking stupid, and they kind of waste Undertaker.
But, WWE's done it before.
Okay, so my thoughts of the match were that the match was, it was all right. I'm not going to say it was like great, or I'm hesitant to say it was good. No, it's like
It was alright. Wasn't good.
It was a
wasn't-
match.
I can't bring myself to say it was good in good conscience. It's just like
There were good spots.
there were good spots. As Jesse said, I didn't like the build-up. It was very like oh, let's show someone, oh, I disrespect you. Yeah, well, I disrespect you.
I
The
disrespect.
match.
Let's
Pull the
look
name of
towards the
hat.
WrestleMania sign.
Yeah, point. There we go. So I'm like, all the air out of the Undertaker balloon is already gone with the loss to Brock Lesnar. I'm like, why are you still here? In fact, it's hurting his image to stick around as long and watch the deterioration. Just because you have all those great matches. If you like the Undertaker, and the Undertaker will like always be a legend. He'll live on in infamy in the WWE world, and not just that in fact, but the wrestling world. You'll never get that character ever again. That's the end of those kind of characters.
Very well.
Bray Wyatt needs to get started before he can end. I mean,
Oh.
it's so.
I mean, Baron
But they
Corbin's already there.
they burnt the worms, which were also a lady, which were also just dirt.
Yeah, but
They
it's
covered
like,
his face in the dirt, and then the traffic cone was put.
and even then, Bray Wyatt's like a cult leader, and there's some spooky shit that he does, but he doesn't. He's not a dead guy that summons lightning to people and crucifies people on his
he
symbol.
did.
Yeah,
He beat Undertaker and beat Kane, and he's like, I summoned lightning, and
I
I summoned the fire. That's him.
Someone
the fire. And
He did that.
yeah, it's just like, and he summoned the hologram. But it's just like, and then
That's
everyone
Randy
was,
Orton.
and every time those things happen, people were like, that's fucking stupid. Even throughout his build, which we enjoyed, people were like, it's fucking stupid that he's doing this kind of build. But anyway, Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker. Alright. If this is The Undertaker's last match, it's a little bit disappointing, because we've always postulated amongst ourselves what would be the coolest way for The Undertaker to retire, and then some people would go, oh man, imagine if he actually retired with Kane, and the one that we came up was the best one, where it was just like, they just Kane and The Undertaker retire and they just go away together, and it's like, that would be really cool from all the years that they've been around.
It's kind of like how do you retire Ryu?
Yeah, well, it's just, how do you stop using and Ryu in any of your stories? What's the final end that you give him? And I understand that Ryu, in that case, would probably lose to the next big thing. And if Roman Reigns is the next big thing, then that will be, good. It will be this mark and this milestone where people will be like, and then he started gaining respect and going in a different way. And people, if it was a heel action, people will be like, that's a lot of hate.
Gaining respect.
Even if it's like, if they unquestionably keep Roman Reigns and push him as a face from now on, it's going to be awful. We're not going to like it, but at the same time, it's eliciting that heel response, and maybe that's how modern day heels have to go, with trying to be like pushed as a face. Because that's the only way they get that kind of emotion from most of the people in the crowd, by pretending to be faces.
Like, they asked Triple H the other day, and he did the same thing basically almost the same response that he did about John Cena when they asked him why isn't he heel. It's just like, well, 70% of the stadium's booing him. Aren't we booking him as a heel? I guess. Up to you.
Well, I mean,
so it's just like, thanks for
no, but like, I understand.
I'm clever.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it sounded like to me. It's just like, aren't I smart? I'm pretty meta, guys.
I learned with that name, that title yesterday.
Sting was not going to get that surgery. Sting was not going to get that surgery on his neck because he knew that if he did that, he could never wrestle again. And his intention was, The Undertaker and I could finally happen. I don't really want to see that match happen at this stage in the career. Yeah, it would be cool to see them if Sting came down to the ring like today for his final match and was just like, hey dude, what's up? And they just, sort of shook hands in WrestleMania or something like that.
Or like out of the fog and just had him, it's like, it's time sort of thing.
And like, I'm also wondering about how much Roman gets put over by this, because it's like, not very much.
Well, you heard he got fucking booed out of the building. He literally got booed out.
So as long as they're keeping him as the heel,
I would bring into question if Undertaker has any real credibility left
to give, yeah. They were originally, believe it or not, going to give it to CM Punk, and then there was like a lot of shit that went down, and they decided at the last moment, no, we're not going to do that. Had everything gone to the WWE's plan, Roman might have been the first person to break the streak, which would have made him super hated. But that is not the case.
No, make Batista the first one to break the streak.
But no, make Batista come back, win the Rumble, not show up, except for like on promos on the fucking Titantron, just saying like everyone sucks, or no, just saying like I love everyone, thank you for accepting me, and then just like show up on WrestleMania as the only event he does, and then beat the Undertaker and be like, I'm now announcing my retirement. And then just go away at everyone. That's how you fucking get everyone to hate Batista.
Oh, man.
More.
Or just do what they did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, do what they did. That worked all right too.
Yeah, that was like the only time that people wanted Roman Reigns was that fucking Royal Rumble.
And I think I'll end on this just as an interesting thought. If Roman Reigns had beaten The Undertaker when he was at the height of popularity, even amongst us in like the Shield, would that have been better? Or
They
does...
haven't done anything yet.
There we go.
Mm.
So I suppose
Fucking wait.
they had to wait for it, and then with the Brock Lesnar interruption, they never got what they wanted to do with it. But who knows? Roman Reigns beats The Undertaker, and what happens in the WWE now? I don't know. But we've got another year until the WrestleMania, and that was WrestleMania 33.
Sort shit out, WWE.
I think that this was the best WrestleMania in years. I think that if I just go down the list, I'm going to say that I liked AJ versus Rich Dad. I liked Kevin versus Chris, although they're not to the level that I would have liked. I didn't like the Bailey versus Charlotte and all that stuff, the scramble
And
thing.
the rest.
Yeah, and the
Raw
rest.
Women's title match.
There wasn't even the SmackDown titles, the tag team titles.
No,
No, yeah,
Oh,
they weren't
'cause-
even on the pre-show.
because the Usos.
No,
won.
they got 2 spots.
They
Uh,
got 3, man.
And
They came out 3 times because they came out and they were in their suits and it was gyrated.
fucking New Day. But anyway, I liked the tag team and the Hardys returning.
That was probably the moment of the night.
I
for me.
liked the build-up with the Miz stuff. I didn't like the match itself.
Yeah.
I thought that the Seth Rollins versus Triple H stuff was all right, not exactly great. Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt, all right, not exactly great. I liked the Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. The next thing was, it was bad with the SmackDown stuff, and then Roman versus The Undertaker. I thought it was all right, and so I think this as a modern WrestleMania, and even compared to some of the WrestleManias of the past, it was all right to good. I went into it and I was like, there's a couple of things I'm looking forward to. Good WrestleMania.
I had low expectations.
Pass that to you, and we'll end with what Jesse thinks at the after you, and you just go through which ones
Mr.
did you like,
Fuckwit.
and
Sorry, it's written down in the notes.
It's important we get that out of the way.
and just quickly, what did you think, and then summarize.
It was like opening matches were good. Women's title match was pretty meh. Hardy Boys was probably the highlight of the night for me.
Okay.
Yeah, didn't care about the Miz carried that match. Seth Rollins Triple H match was decent. It wasn't great. It was decent. The more I think about it, Randy Orton, like the WWE Championship match was good. What I expected with the Goldberg Brock Lesnar match. The SmackDown Women's Championship match was terrible. Roman Reigns match was there were some spots, but that was about it. But not as good as WrestleMania 31.
Okay.
Better than WrestleMania 30. I
Yeah.
would say recently.
AJ reached out, which that's cool.
Didn't we
I feel
say
like,
he
I feel
was
like
part
they
of
could
the
do some
Illuminati?
cool stuff with that afterwards as well. Kevin and Chris. It's a bad sitcom. The match was Feud was alright. Didn't need to go on for as long as it did though. They should have ended a bit earlier. Had something cool happen in WrestleMania maybe. Maybe they come back like, oh, I'm still angry or something. I don't know.
They could have had more time for people.
First women's
Fucking hell.
scramble was a bit.
Scrambled.
It had one cool thing and then the rest was a bit Could have done better as like even a tag team, but they've done that to the fucking dog. But yeah. I liked the ladder match. It was good, especially with the Hardy Boys showing up. The fact that Hardy Boys did show up made it not feel like WWE, which is necessary for
Which is a good feeling.
especially when it's their fucking tag division. It needs to not feel like WWE tag division because it's bad. I didn't. There was some bad shit. John and Miz, and it's not. Like, I don't know. It's bad. There's nothing to say about it really. I can't remember what Miz did in that match.
But Miz did everything.
And you can't remember it.
Yeah. Seth Rollins, Triple H. Triple H was what he does. I liked his entrance. It's probably the most interesting thing in the entire match, to be honest.
That's right.
What did Seth Rollins even do?
He sold his knee.
Yeah, there was a lot of knee selling, not enough actual moves.
My knee!
He did a cool Phoenix thing, whatever it's called.
Phoenix Splash?
Yeah, that was cool. Probably should end on that. You're right.
Yeah.
Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. That would be good without the constant overhead shots of maggots and worms and.
They didn't need
crickets.
the gimmicks when they were wrestling.
No, you don't need to fucking have the wrestling and then have the gimmicks. Like back in the day, right? Like Undertaker and like Jake the Snake is the perfect example. Like in the background, it's like, oh, I'm making a deal with the devil. I'm gonna get you. And then it comes out and wrestles. And they go back in and go, yeah, the devil was with me that match. Like that's how it works in wrestling.
Well, you just
There's a
gotta
disconnect between the bullshit and the actual what people come to see.
Just have Bray Wyatt, Randy, look in your pockets, and just pulls out his worms. Oh!
That would be amazing. Because then it's like, is he magical or does his cult extend to the fucking costume makers?
Yeah.
Like how far is it's well.
How deep is the rabbit hole?
Brock vs Goldberg wasn't as I was expecting it to just be another shit show. I was expecting it to go a bit longer because I was hoping they have to do something for WrestleMania. I'm happy enough with it. It ended the way the feud should. I feel nothing too bad to say about it, especially because they're only doing one move, but it's sort of like fucking if a fucking Colossus punches you, it doesn't matter how boring the punch was, you're still fucking paced.
Yeah.
Maybe
I was too hard in that match. I'll probably have to go back and watch it.
He's a fucking sheep, man.
Fuck you.
Naomi, Alexa, Becky, Mickey, Natalia, Camilla. There was a single decent looking move in that entire match. The rest, I wasn't paying attention. I was probably taking the piss out of Ryan or drinking. Coke is horrible. Just put that out there.
Don't do it, kids.
Roman versus The Undertaker. That match had. I'm a bit over Undertaker's entrance even at this point.
They had to put him halfway down the ramp.
Yeah, they had the fucking elevator halfway down because fuck that.
Oh man.
Like we were giving shit about Randy Orton, but we were talking and with the JPEG snake.
Yeah, Roman had a decent intro. They had the fucking hammer down, the Reinhardt hammer down as his intro.
Yeah.
And the booze.
Thing is, if you ignore the booze, you can see what they're trying to do with Roman.
Yeah.
And if you can ignore all of the baggage he has, he's fine. Problem is, he has that baggage, and they'll never go away. So,
The thing that people should do, if they're really disdain, instead of chanting fucking CM Punk, just don't chant anything. Just sit on your hands, don't make a noise, and they'll be like, oh fuck, we're not getting a response out of them. But you're booing and they're like, oh no, they're booing him. Oh no, as they hand over the money and buy all the merch.
I don't know, this match gives me more hope that maybe Roman Reigns can be something eventually. Even if it's not what I wanted him to be originally, it'll be something, which, it's always good. It's a job.
I hate to interrupt you, Jesse, just before you give your final analysis, but from everything that it just really hit me now. I think that you wanted Roman Reigns to be your Goldberg.
I wanted to show up and just be like, hey, we have a guy, and I wanted to have a main event face that could actually do something that wasn't just a John Cena bullshit thing. You can, I said before, I don't mind John Cena as a heel. When coming into the Miz versus John Cena fight, I was looking forward to it the most, actually, because it's like, oh cool, I get to see the Miz do what the Miz does best, and I get to see John Cena actually, he's a big guy, and
he has to explain the criticisms that the Miz has made, or at least abate those criticisms.
And if he can't, it's always you can just have John Cena just wail on the Miz, and John Cena doesn't have to do any moves and doesn't have to prove that bullshit because he has "I'm angry" as his motivator. That would have been. I would then having just going the other way of just John Cena being John Cena. It felt like, oh good, they just they basically wasted everyone's time for 3 months. I mean,
Boy, did they.
We got some cool, you know,
John,
Miz doing cool stuff.
what are you doing?
But yeah, I don't know, overall it was. They definitely have at least. They have enough people now. Like they have good feuds going. I feel, and majority of the people they do have actual people you want to see wrestle.
Yep.
It's just that they haven't found out how to build a good story yet in the women's division. Like there's good wrestlers there, but they keep on having to like kowtow to these other people. They have to keep on we can't just have like 2 good wrestlers or else it's turned to fucking Vern Gagne, fucking Bockwinkel.
Oh my goodness.
So they need to have the sort of they need to sort of bring down the good wrestlers and then sort of try and artificially bring up the bad ones. And I think that's the problem with women's division. Hopefully, once they have this fucking scouting mission done, they'll get some actual things that they can tie people in and like have the decent stories and stuff like that. But until that happens, it's not looking good. Triple H as I don't mind him on the mic. I don't mind him with what he's doing in the company. I feel like he's a good asshole leader.
Well, everyone hates their boss, and so they can relate. Like, yeah, fuck you, fuck your boss.
I also feel like Stephanie McMahon is like I feel like Triple H is basically just a puppet for Stephanie McMahon, which I feel like is what
She's
Triple
the
H has
brains
always,
behind his brawn.
Triple H has always just been the blunt instrument next to the guy that knows what they're doing.
Basically, you're saying he's just a trophy husband.
His marriage is the same thing. Stephanie is the person that pulls all the strings, and then Triple H is like, yeah.
I have that idea.
Yeah, exactly. So then it's like, so Stephanie's like, this guy's disrespecting you. You should teach him what to do. So like, yeah, she's basically using Triple H as like the forceful face for her machinations, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I feel like is a good.
Would you rather see
way
him
of using
now,
it.
since he lost to WrestleMania? He's like, well, I'm gonna just because a lot of people have been sort of teasing because he brought up Samoa Joe
Yeah.
as like enforcer. If you made like some sort of faction and did kind of maybe like an
I don't think
evolution
he should
kind
be.
of
I don't think he should make a faction. I think he should be. I'm the boss. So rather than try to wrestle you myself,
Like
just-
William Regal.
Yeah, just fucking send other people after him. It's like, oh, you think you're top shit? Well, I got a new boy in town. His name's Samoa Joey. He's gonna
Yeah,
fucking kill you.
that promo writes itself right there.
So yeah. So in closing, Stuart's a fuckwit, and 4 out of 10.
Alrighty. So that was WrestleMania. We'll see what happens with the rest of wrestling. Caution. What would you say? Cautiously optimistic.
As we always are, we're suckers. We're like, it'll get better.
It's
gonna
possible
get
for it to
better.
get better, but don't hold your breath.
They keep kicking sand.
They need don't wait for them to get better. They need to come to you when they get better. It's like come to me when you got some WWE.
And I think that's where we'll leave it. Thank you everyone for listening. That was WrestleMania, and we'll catch you later.